Good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Rowe. We're looking at Algebra 1, Part A. We're going to talk about dimensional analysis for a few minutes, try to give you some advice on what to do in this unit and how to solve the problems that you're being given. So let's take a look at just a few things. So what do you need to know? So when you start these problems, the first thing and probably the most important thing is, what do I know? Well, what have I been given? So am I talking about miles, or am I talking about miles per hour? Am I talking about euros, dollars? There's all sorts of things, but you got to know what unit you're given. Then you'll need to know what unit you're converting it to. And then you'll also know or need to know the proper conversions. Now, this is a sort of a, buyer beware kind of a thing. This is usually a given thing. So things that they don't expect you to memorize, they'll give you. So for example, they'll tell you that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. But things that they won't tell you are that, like, there are 7 days in a week, and then 60 minutes an hour. Those kind of things are definitely things you're not gonna be given. You have to know. And then more than likely you will need some type of a calculator. So I use this one right here. If I can get it to come over here. Let's see if I can get it to come over. There we go. So this is the calculator I use. It's a TI-84 Silver Edition. You don't need this one. You can definitely, since this is an EOC class, I would really get familiar with desmos.com, because that's the calculator that will be embedded into your EOC test when you take that at the end of Part B. So let's take a look at some examples of what you're being asked to do. So here's our first example. This is a simple conversion. And for all these conversions, I am going to use dimensional analysis. So I know there's different ways to do this, but if you stick with this method, this is the method that's going to help you, especially when you get to the rates. So what I'm asked to do here is, I've got 2,000 miles. I'm asked to convert it into feet. So what I initially do on all of these problems is I write down what I'm given as a fraction. So I'm given that I have 2,000 miles. Now, if I write this as a fraction, I have no other unit of measure. So I'm just going to put 1 there as a placeholder. And so now is where I get to the dimensional analysis, where I do the converting. So I have to convert miles into feet. I'm given this conversion that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So when I do my conversion, I'm going to create another fraction. And in that fraction, I'm going to put these two values in the right places so that things will cancel out and I'll get the conversion that I want. So if I'm converting miles into feet, miles is a numerator in the given. That's where it is. It's on top. It's a numerator. So when I come over to my conversion right here, I'm going to have to put that miles in the opposite location. So if it's on top here, it has to go in the bottom right there. And then the other part of the conversion will go on top or in the numerator position. Now, why do I do that? That cancels those units out, leaving me just the unit I'm converting to, which is feet. And then this becomes a simple multiplication or division problem, or multiplication and division problem, one of the two. So we're just going to multiply straight across. So here's where I'm going to pull my calculator out. And I'm going to move me over here somewhere, out the way. And then we got 5,000. I got to cut the calculator on first. 5,280 feet. And I'm going to multiply it by 2,000. And so 2,000 miles is the same as, we'll write all this down. And then we got 1056 and 4 zeros. So that's 10,560,000 feet. And that's the conversion. So there you go. Just always set this fraction up and then do the conversion. Your final answer should be only with the unit that you're converting to. So that's a simple conversion. So let's take a look at the next example. And in the next example, we're actually going to convert a rate. So We're going to move this over a little bit so we're not interfering with our last example. We're going to move our third example over a little bit. Just so that's not in the way. And there we go. All right. So now on this one, we're converting 72 miles per hour. That's what I'm given. And we're going to convert it into feet per second. So this one requires that I know two conversions. Well, we were given in the last example that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So that's already something that we know. And our second thing that we're going to have to be able to do is how to convert hours into seconds. Now there's multi-steps here, or we can do one step. So I can go this way and say that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And then that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Now that's one way to do this. This will make it a 2 conversion on your dimensional analysis. Or we can put this together and go straight from 1 hour to seconds by saying that 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. Now this is not a common knowledge thing, but you can get to that by simply taking this multi-step process to get there. So let's do the conversion. Always start off with what we're given. We're given that we have 72 miles in 1 hour. Now, unless it says otherwise, the denominator is always a unit of 1. So we're going to leave it as that. Then we do our 2 conversions. So our first conversion is to go from miles into feet. So I'm going to put this into my conversion in the proper places. So since miles are a numerator right here, it has to go in the denominator in the conversion. So I've got 1 mile right there. The other half of that conversion is 5,280 feet. The miles are going to cancel, leaving me only feet. So that's the first step. Second step, we need to convert hours into seconds. So here's our conversion for that. Hours is the denominator in our given. So in our conversion, it has to go on top. And so the other half of the conversion would have to go in the denominator. And so that cancels hours out, leaving us only seconds. Now we have to double checking. We're converting to feet per second. That's the only units we have left. So everything else now becomes multiplication and division. So I'll multiply the top, multiply the bottom. So 72 times 5,280. And that gives me 380,160. Okay, on the bottom, I have 1 times 1 times 3,600, leaving me just 3,600. Now, I'm going to carry my units over because I don't want to forget those in my final answer. That is part of the answer. This is feet per second. And now I have to do this division. So I'm going to pull my calculator back out. I've got my number already there. I'm going to divide by 3,600. And this gives me that 72 miles per hour is the same as 105 feet per second. And so that's the conversion. So just follow those steps every time. Now here is something that you'll also see. It's a multi-step word problem. So when I've noticed that they use a lot of euros and dollars, so I'm doing one that's kind of similar. So Xavier took a trip to Europe. He converted $500 into euros. While in France, he spent 375 euros. Then when he returned to the United States, he converted the remaining euros back into dollars. How much of his initial $500 does he have remaining? Okay, it looks like I forgot to give the conversion here, so I've kind of pulled that up real quick over here. And the conversion is that $1 equals, and I don't know how to write that symbol too well, so let's see. I'm using a different symbol, so we're going to make it a C with 2 lines, equals 86 hundredths of a euro. So that's the conversion that we're going to use. And so what do we have to do here? So we're given that he converts his 500 into euros. So that would be the first place I would start. So I've got $500. I'm converting that into euros. So when I do my conversion, remember what I want to cancel out goes on bottom. So $1 is what I want to cancel because I want to cancel out dollars. And so the conversion is that is 86 hundredths of a euro. And so this is my first conversion. So I'll pull my calculator out. I'll do that conversion. I have 500 times 86 hundredths. And so that gives me 430 euros. Okay, so that's the first part. Now let's read what it says here. It says, while in France, he spent 375 of those euros. So that means I have to take the 430 and I have to subtract 375. And so don't be afraid to use a calculator there. So I'm going to subtract 375. And so that gives me 55 euros remaining. Oh, trying to write a dollar symbol there. So that's 55 euros remaining. And now we have to answer the last part of the question, which is when he got back to the US, he converted the remaining back into dollars. So we need to convert this $55 back into euros. So this time it's a second problem. This time I'm starting with 55 euros. I'm going to use my conversion, which we'll still use as $1 equals 86 hundredths. And so in my conversion, I'm trying to cancel out euros this time. So this part of the conversion goes in the denominator. And $1 goes on top. Let me write that the right way. And so now this becomes a division problem. 55 times 1 is 55. The euros have canceled. And the dollars are remaining, divided by 0.86. Now understand this, that at this point, because we're dividing by a decimal, this will actually get bigger. So don't freak out when that happens. Okay, so now I'm doing 55 divided by 0.86. And so remember, we're talking dollars. So it depends on what the question says, but this is $63.95. If it says round to the nearest euro or nearest dollar, that's $64 rounded. So that's the two ways I've seen those questions asked. So now, I hope this helps you with the dimensional analysis unit. If you still struggle with this as you're working, please do not hesitate to reach out to me for help through either the Genius messaging system. You can send me a text message, or you can make an appointment for help. So do one of those things, but get some help. Don't sit there and struggle with this. And please let me know what I can do to help.